Your nervous system isn't building systems because you're just naturally strategic. It's building systems because it cannot bear feeling small, exposed, or helpless. I call this the JB Archetype, using systems and scales so your nervous system never has to feel at the mercy of anyone or anything. This is an archetype, not a diagnosis. I'm working from public behavior and public stories, not anyone's private life. The point isn't to attack a person, it's to make a pattern visible, out there, and maybe in you. If psychology hasn't worked for you, existential neurobiology may. Let's start with what this actually looks like from the outside. The JB archetype builds systems and scale, so their nervous system never has to sit in helplessness, dependence, or chaos. On the surface, it's impressive. Dashboards, metrics, processes that run without them. They talk about removing myself from operations and working on the business, not in it. The language is clean and admired. I don't scale myself, I scale my systems. I'm an operator. I love systems thinking. Working smarter, not harder. They become the person who always sees the whole board, the one who has the process mapped before anyone else even finishes explaining the problem, the operator who makes gnarly stuff look inevitable and simple. You'll hear stories like, "My team runs the business, I just work on the system." And that's true on the surface. At a nervous system level, it's more like, if I control the model, I never have to be the small one who can't fix it. From the outside, it looks like mastery and freedom. From the inside, it often feels like, if I stop, everything falls apart, including me. Holidays become strategy time. Days off are for deep work on the business. There's always just one more optimization, one more piece to tighten before you're allowed to rest. Now let's map what your nervous system is actually doing with this pattern. Here's the claim. In the JB archetype, control becomes the drug. Metrics are just the clean, socially acceptable delivery system. What does control buy your body? Predictability instead of old chaos. The feeling, I never have to be the kid who couldn't fix this. A daily hit of, I've got this, every time a graph trends up, a process tightens, a dashboard turns green. Control isn't just a preference, it's a nervous system habit that keeps certain states away. Underneath that, there's usually a nervous system that learned very young. When I'm small, I'm unsafe. When I depend, I get dropped. When I don't know, I'm humiliated. So your body doesn't just like control. It relies on control the way some people rely on substances or approval or constant motion. Not because you're a villain, not because you're lying about loving systems, but because at some point, control really did keep you safe. Your competence is real, and your nervous system is using that competence as armor. On the surface, it looks like, I love systems. Often underneath, the nervous system is saying, I only feel safe when I'm the one who sees the whole board. And then every feeling quietly turns into a project. Disappointment? I need to build a better funnel. Shame? Let's redesign the org chart. Loneliness? Time to launch a new community product. Fear about the future? New model, new framework, new playbook. The projects aren't fake. They build real value in the world, but they're doing double duty. They build things out there, and they also keep certain feelings off the table in here. The nervous system's logic is simple. If I keep moving, nothing can catch up, especially my own feelings. You become brilliant at converting raw, messy emotion into clean, actionable work. That's why people rely on you. but it means there's almost no space where you get to be the one who doesn't know, the one who's not in control, the one who's just scared or sad without immediately turning it into a roadmap. You can know your HRV, your sleep score, your macros, your productivity metrics, and still have almost no direct contact with the felt sense of your own body. You can optimize inputs and outputs while being mostly exiled from actually living in here, in this physical, emotional experience. In relationships, it becomes maps instead of contact, culture documents instead of being in the room for conflict, strategy decks instead of sitting with one person's hurt, a new hiring process instead of a hard, honest conversation that might actually sting. The move becomes, I'll fix the system so I don't have to feel this with you. When something gets uncomfortable, the JB nervous system tends to open a spreadsheet instead of its mouth, a planning doc instead of a vulnerable sentence, a system redesign instead of, this actually hurts and I don't know what to do. On the outside, it looks like leadership and foresight. On the inside, it's often a very sophisticated way of staying out of certain kinds of emotional contact. Let's be fair about what this pattern actually produces, what it buys: money, status, genuine impact. You become the person people rely on when things get complex. You get the story. I'm the one who can hold it all. I don't need anyone. I have systems. And there's truth in that. There is real competence and real contribution here. The world runs on people who can hold complexity and make it workable, and you may be one of them. But here's what it burns. Your body pays with chronic overdrive, sleep quality, stress wear, a baseline of tension that never quite drops, even on holiday. Your capacity for being held shrinks. Being small, unsure, unimpressive, or wrong starts to feel almost impossible. It doesn't fit the operator identity you've built and that other people reinforce. And then identity itself gets fragile. If I'm not building, optimizing, orchestrating, who am I? If I'm not the one holding the system, will anyone still want me here? In existential neurobiology language, the nervous system wins in the short term. The human being slowly disappears into the operator. If you're still here, and you recognize yourself even a little, see if you can keep a bit of attention in your body while you listen, not just up in the ideas. I'm going to give you a few questions, not to attack you, to give your nervous system a mirror. You don't have to answer out loud. Just notice what lands and where it lands. When you're scared, what opens first? A person or a dashboard? If you stopped building anything new for 30 days, what feeling do you expect to hit you first? Where in your life do you quietly refuse to be the one who doesn't know? Do the people closest to you get access to you, or mostly to the operator version of you who can solve things? What part of you are you trying to protect from ever being small again? These are not questions to win or lose. They're ways of feeling for the edges of this archetype in your own nervous system. You don't have to throw away your systems. They're part of your real gift. The work in existential neurobiology is letting your system serve a human nervous system that's allowed to be small, to be held, to not know, without everything collapsing. Letting there be spaces where you are not the operator, not the one who has the map. And it's still safe enough to stay in your body. If psychology hasn't worked for you, existential neurobiology may. See for a way of being where control is a tool, not a drug, and where you don't have to disappear into the machine you built.